This is the Project 54 movement. Your host, Steve Pedroza. Got a hot one today, man. I got a good friend, family, call him like my brother, man. We've been going back, way back, So my boy Sam, welcome, man. Thank you for being here, man.
Oh, man, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a good one today.
Yeah.
So, my boy Sam, I'm going to, we're going to go through a series of different, questions. We're going to kind of go through and just kind of touch about how we know each other, how we grew up, man, and a little bit about yourself, a little bit about me, and how that kind of comes together, man. So let the audience know a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up at, how many are you a sibling of how many, your mom, dad, all that good stuff, man.
Well, yeah. Well, of course, we grew up since we were younger, man.
Yeah.
But I'm the fifth one. You know what I mean? I got two brothers, two sisters. Of course, all older than me. I'm the baby boy, I guess.
Yeah.
But my mom, my dad, they're both. I'm first generation here. I'll say that. Both of them born in Mexico.
Yeah.
They both came down at a young age.
Yeah.
I guess to start off a better life. It is what it is.
Cool.
And look at now we're here.
Yeah.
I met you through, I guess you could say your uncle, my sister.
Yeah, they're married.
Yeah.
They got married, and that was kind of that was kind of cool. Like we went to school together, and then from there, like it just kind of branched off from there. And I think like going back to like we'll kind of touch on we grew up in the same town. Great. We grew up in the same town, Pomona, California, but he grew up more on the hood side, on the good side of town, but it was pretty cool because I remember back in the day, like all your family was on the same block.
That's it,
and they still do.
Yeah, it's so funny too, because I would say my grandma was the one that bought the house first.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, I think it was my dad, and then my uncle moved next door
Yeah.
to my grandma's house. So we call it the Franco Estates because pretty much you had to pass everybody's house just to pass the block. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that was cool.
Yeah.
Like, people say they grew up with friends. I grew up with my family.
Yeah.
Like, for reals, I really did. You know what I mean? My neighbors were my cousins.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That was cool, man. And I think let's talk a little bit about like your mom and dad. I remember your mom and dad, ever since I was little, and we used to go over and everything like that. They always treat me like I was like their own. We're always around since we kind of connected. I think from there it was always just we turned into like like another brother. Like I didn't have a brother growing up. Of course, you're older than me.
Yeah.
but not by much. But I think it's like going over, hanging out all the time, and then from middle school, then high school, then I end up moving.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, like that, and but I think we still always kind of like circle back, and kind of like just literally left off.
Yeah,
from
it's
where
funny.
we were
Like,
at,
like man, of course, my mom and dad, like, I think they always taught me like, hey, like, never treat anybody like an outsider.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, if you feel good with them, never treat them like a friend. Treat them like family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, what do you have close to you? It's your family. I mean, they're always gonna be there. And like me and you, when we grew up, man, like it's been years now. You're thinking about it. You know what I mean?
It's years, man.
It's just like it went from us like hanging out at a party, a family party, to like, hey, we're at school now. Like, what up? And then, dude, remember we took off to Fontana? I was like, hey, I'm taking off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We weren't doing so good here, but
yeah.
but it's kind of crazy how things went. Like my mom and dad too. Like I said, they were just hard workers. That's all I can remember about them. Well, you know how they were.
Yeah.
My dad did construction work.
Yeah.
My mom, she worked at the hospital for years. You know what I mean? Until she retired.
Yeah, it's so funny, man. I love your mom. Like she was always like, just so caring. So like, just like a service. Like like the true definition. Like not like of like what like. Even from work, like I didn't even work with her, but just from the way she was, like the times where I was around her, like customer service, like she always took care of you.
Yeah.
Like and even like go over, like, hey, what do you want, mijo? Like I just ate. Like what do you want now? Like no, like what do you want? Like she'll put fresh tortillas and it sucks. Bro. I'm gluten free now, so I can't. Hey, but I'll sacrifice my.
Well, it's like they say, bro. It's like if they're making it from scratch, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all. Like I said, I didn't grow up with a bag of tortillas. I grew up with having her make them, so I didn't know
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I said, I could say it was like the old school, like,
Yeah,
you know,
dude.
like if you didn't have rice and beans at your house, then what were you doing? You get what I'm saying? Like that's the
Yeah,
way you
yeah,
grew up, you know.
exactly,
Like
dude.
compared to nowadays, it's like
Yeah.
I want to go and get a hamburger. To me, it was just like, oh, go give me a tortilla with butter.
Oh, dude, I remember
You know
that
what
like
I
in
mean?
middle
Things
school,
like
bro.
that. You
Like
know?
go to middle school, get some tortilla, get some flour tortillas with some butter, and walk to school with a rolled up. You know, thinking you're smoking a joint or something. You
Yeah.
know, but no, man. Like I think it's and then kind of circle back. So you know, we talk about like a lot of the stuff that we did like in middle school and things like that. I think you're like one of the only friends I had back in the day that drove in middle school and had a Bronco. You know,
The Bronco too, bro. Put in so much work.
so it was pretty cool. You know, it was kind of like I think a lot of the experiences that we had, like going to the fair. You know,
Yo,
a lot of
yeah.
things in the fair. The fair was the infamous fair. You
Yeah,
know, back
the
in the
LA
day.
County Fair, bro.
LA
You can
County
never
Fair
beat it.
was always like
This is nothing like it is now.
oh,
but-
not at all. You know, it wasn't peaceful back then. And but I think what do you think is like I ended up moving to Fontana, like you stood in Pomona, and it was funny because like I think before I moved to Fontana, like me and you, we hung out a lot, and we hung out with like a lot of older people.
Yeah.
I remember like when we were freshmen, so, like even when we were in middle school, we used to go to like parties, and we were always with older people. And then when we became freshmen and we played sports and stuff, like I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember on the senior yearbook that year, we're the only freshmen like in this
Yeah,
picture.
we were on it. Yeah,
We're on the thing with all the seniors and things like
the
that.
senior
And
class. That's right.
we just plus your cousin was older, and a lot of people that
Yeah.
were older, so we hung out with that crowd. But I think let's kind of like talk about like our things that challenges that we faced through growing up where we grew up at, and understanding like if we went left, then it could have been left in the bad
Oh,
way. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Like from just people that we talk to, just growing up in a different environment, and at the same time like how was that for you? Like
Dude, it was just, if you think about it, man, like people could have stayed that way, and then there is people that actually stayed that way. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
feel like when we grew up, man, like you grew up with who you hung with.
yeah
You know what I mean? And like, hey, you didn't see them as bad, but like everybody got into their own thing.
yeah
You get what I'm saying? Some people chose sports, which we did. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I mean, you still hung out with your friends.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And at the time, you didn't know what was going on.
yeah
Well, you did know what was going on, but it wasn't kind of like, well, I'm not gonna kick with you because you're doing this anymore.
yeah
It was kind of like, oh, it is what it is. That's what you do. You know what I mean? Like, you know people from a hood, and then you know people from tagging crews and from this and that. But like I said, if I felt like being there, it kind of made you like more streetwise in a
Yeah,
way. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Just because when you grew up, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna do this. It was kind of like, hey, like watch out when you go to school. Don't walk this way. You know what I mean? Or hey, these are the type of people that are gonna be there. You know what I mean? It's just kind of you had that knowledge for that, even though it wasn't
Yeah.
always in school, like in books.
yeah
But like, you know what I mean? Sometimes it worked in your benefit. Like now
Yeah,
as
definitely.
a man, you know what I mean? You could go to these certain places and you could kind of sense where things are gonna be bad. Like, hey, I shouldn't be here, or you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it keeps you more aware.
Oh,
of
exactly.
where you're at.
And I think that's one of the things, like even for me, like the time in that I lived there in Pomona, like and learning a ton, dude. Like growing up there, and like we live in two different kind of level, same in the same general area, but two different types of area. Like I live on a cul-de-sac, and
Right.
just people running through there consistently, running through the park and all those different stuff. So you're able to really like understand and be careful and literally always like literally put your head on the swivel, like
Yeah,
and understanding that
100%.
like thinking back now, it's like I will never change the things I did, or any of the altercations or any things that I had to face, because I think it's really beneficial to like life now, right? Like
Oh, 100%, bro.
being working, businessman, a father, a husband, all that stuff. It's like you have to be able to be 1, 2, 3, 4 steps ahead, right? Just like
Yeah.
if you're walking down the wrong spot, right?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like we were talking about earlier. Like, I think I've always been like a person like to kind of hustle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying like, oh, you had to do this and that, but I always felt like, you know what? Like my mom and dad made money for us to, you know what I mean, to have food on the table, clothes, you know what I mean, and to have a house, you know what I mean? And I always felt like, man, if I wanted extra, like I gotta earn it. You know what I mean? So like when you said I had my Bronco, I was like, honestly, bro, like I honestly drove that car to a job that was down the street. But still, dude, I was
Yeah, we were
working
at
there on the
Domino's,
weekend.
right?
Domino's, yeah,
Domino's,
dude.
dude.
All I was doing there was folding boxes, bro. I did it for what, a year, and like honestly, it was good. You know what I mean? Because it was like my own income. It kind of showed me like, hey, like you know what I mean, you're gonna make your own money. But a good thing, you know, too, my sisters, you know what I mean, they were kind of like on me too, like, hey, put this money to the side. Like always put a little bit to the side. So when you need something, you're not asking for it. You have it.
Yeah.
Just remember that. You know what I mean? So I think that was like different, like to learn something like that was like a little different for me. You know what I mean? Because it learned like responsibility. You know what I mean? And plus, like you said, like where you grew up at, it was kind of like everybody wasn't rich there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like everybody kind of lived the same. You know what I mean? Like you did your thing. I mean, of course you had good stuff here and there. I'm not gonna say we were broke, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like I didn't feel like I shouldn't bug for this. You know what I mean? Because I don't really need it.
Yeah.
Cause that's how I always thought. Like even now as a man, like we're like, oh, let's go shopping. Me, I'm like, I'd rather go shopping for you guys and my kids. Like, what do you guys want? Well, Dad, why don't you get something? I'm like, cause I don't really need it.
Yeah, you're good, right?
Yeah, like you've had those shoes for how long? It's cool. They still look new, don't they? So that's what I always felt. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I rather, you know what I mean? Like if you could keep it nice, bro,
You take
keep it
care
nice.
of it. I kind of learned that from Frank.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
You know, he was like the only dude I knew with a white a white sweater, dude. Back in the day with like some creased up 501s, and I learned a lot from him and things like that. And that's how like how we connected. Him marrying your sister and things like that. So that was always kind of funny. Like my kids like, oh, why you always clean your shoes? And I was like, my clothes last me pretty long time. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Like you have things for like years and years.
Yeah.
That kind of lasts. But you know what? What would you think? Now from all that stuff that you kind of learn and like from your parents, like and like your dad, I remember being little. He was funny because he was always like a very it was funny. Like I don't know. Like I remember I remember a lot of things when I was little. Like when we got a little older, before he passed away, it was already like a strong, stern man, but super cool, dude.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I don't know if it was like because I was a kid, right? But I always remember it was like like he meant business when like if he didn't like something or whatever. But like with me, I remember like even sitting on his lap when I was younger. It was kind of like.
It's funny too, because you know what I mean. Like that guy Monday through Friday, it was all work.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? He went to work, he came home, ate, went to sleep. You know what I mean? It was all work. But when it came to the weekends, it was like that guy was a different guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you knew my dad. He was a drinker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He drank. That's probably one of the reasons he passed away a little early. You know what I mean? He had liver cirrhosis, but I don't take that like, oh, he was a drunk and he didn't do nothing with us. Like I still felt like he was there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was cool. Like I always felt like you said, he really meant business, like all the time. Like, but at the same time, he never showed you like, hey, don't talk to me. Like you're just
he always showed you love.
Always just showed you love.
Yeah.
And he always showed me something. Like he would always tell me like, hey, I'm telling you to do this, not just to do it, but you're gonna realize why you're doing it later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's true. Like you say, when you don't know what I'm doing for you now, but you're gonna learn later in life like why I told you to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you learn certain things from them. You're like, now that I'm older, I'm like, I catch myself doing it, and I'm like, oh, all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was funny too because I felt like everybody knew him. It's like they would pass by, honk at him, like, hey, what up? He would be like, yeah, what's up? I don't know who that was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like too. It's funny too because like, hey man, like, I was social. You know what I mean? So they would be like, my kids would be like, hey. How do you know them? I don't know. I met them a long time ago. You know what I mean? Or like, hey, like we go somewhere, like, dude, like who don't you know? Yeah. I'm like, well, that's the thing.
But that was kind of like a good thing, like just being social. Like, and I know like, both your parents are like that. Like,
oh yeah,
and that's crazy. Like, your mom talking to everybody, and your dad. Even like, I know you have tattooed on his arm, on your arm, and your parents, and the cowboy hat and the belt buckles, bro.
That's it.
Like all day long, dude.
That was life,
Yeah,
bro.
that was life, dude. And it was like legit, man. And then, you know what, and I always like, thinking about now as an adult is like appreciating people that always you know treating me a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's one of the things as kids, like you don't realize, like until you get older, it's like, man, like these people are cool, and or vice versa, So I think it's like even my mom with you, like
Oh, dude.
and it's like one of the things like my mom always like, oh, how's Sammy doing, and things like that. I was like, who's doing good, like it's funny because like it's those conversations is like when it talks about friends, like my mom or people around me, like even my wife, I will mention so many people. I have a lot of acquaintances,
Yeah.
but when it comes to friends, like I was just talking earlier with Rich, is like there's maybe less than a handful actually of people, like we never got an argument.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like it's kind of weird. Like I don't know, like like I remember when we joke around, like maybe if we ever got in a fight, dude, like I'll be crying, we'd be fighting each other, like
I don't want to hit
I don't wanna
you.
hit you, dude. It's like because it's like, why do you think that? Why do you think like? Because I we all have different. We have friends that we know each other, and we have friends that don't know each other, but we know a lot of the same people. Like
Right.
of course we grew up with, and even now as adults, we still kind of still socialize with some people, and some people we don't, because of life. But what would you think that our friendship like it was it? I would say my thing, it was probably the respect thing, and I don't know if
Yeah.
maybe the family connection as well. But like, what do you think? Why would you think it's like?
You know what? I think for 100% it was respect, but with me and you, I don't think like we've ever judged each other for certain things. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like of course you like the Cowboys. I feel bad for you all the time. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna
Yeah.
judge you on liking
Yeah.
your team. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like, of course, I'm a Super Bowl team. The Rams.
Oh wow.
But at the same time, it's like I don't think we've ever judged each other on things like that. Like we talked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if we didn't like agree with something, I've never heard you say like, "Well, you're wrong."
Yeah.
Why do you like that?
Yeah.
And the same thing when you told me like, "Well, I think of this." I never said like, "Well, that's a dumb idea," or "That's dumb for you to think that." I think I think it was funny because we would like even when you're at work and we're chopping up, you're on the road or I'm on the road in traffic, like we'll get into a conversation, and most of the time the conversation's about like, "Oh, this would happen," and "Oh yeah," and I heard this, and then we explain, I think like why we got it, and it's kind of like, I think it opens your ear to like, you know what, maybe he likes it because of this, and I understand why he likes it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Instead of being like, well, like going home later and being like, I don't know why Steve thinks like that. You know what I'm saying? I think we always talk to each other about it more than
being very open minded too.
That's what it is.
I think it's like because I had a conversation with people, and it's like it's very rare to have like a conversation with somebody where it's like genuine, and it's just like it's all love, man. It's all like not even like we joke around with each other, but it's not even like there's a certain level.
Yeah, it's
like,
funny. It's like I think like you know what I mean, around certain people you can't joke like you want to joke because you don't know how they're gonna be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I always tell you, like, even when we hang out, when we go to the game or something, I'm not gonna change the way I am like around certain people. Like this is the way I am with you.
Yeah.
And I'll make fun of you like no matter what.
Yeah.
But that's just us being us.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And like I always think like I don't know, like even when you were talking about your mom, I was like, dude, like your mom has always been like, I feel like the way my mom has treated you is like the way your mom's treated me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, she was always the best with me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, mijo, how are you? How
Mm-hmm.
you doing? How you been? And dude, like I feel like whenever I see her, it's like we just where we left off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh man, how's everything going? Good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember going to your house in Fontana. Like, oh, Steve's gonna come back right now. Like I remember showing up a couple times, and you weren't there yet. And she's like, come in, like hang out. And we're just really there chilling, and you weren't even there yet. I'm like, dude, it was like a half hour, and you weren't even coming home yet. And like I just felt like at home. You know what I mean? She never made me feel nothing different. You know what I mean? I think it just, like I said, I think we're more like, I guess you could say friends, but I think we're more like family.
Yeah.
Because like I said, like You know what I mean? Like you said, you got a handful of people
Yeah.
that you could really talk to, and like that's whenever. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
feel like with you, it's like, hey, what up? See, what are you doing?
Got it.
And you know what I mean? Or how you been?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We pick up right where we left off, even if it's been a month since we've talked.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But that's kind of cool, man. And I think that's the exciting, you know, like fast forward to life now, and and that's one of the things to talk about, like you know how through all the different challenges and different things that you have overcome in life, but now as an adult, being a husband,
oh yeah,
being a father, how's that, man?
it's good. It's like really good. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like when certain people are like, hey, let's go and hang out, and you're like, nah, I'd rather go and hang out with my kids, or I promise them I'm gonna take them here. You know what I mean? And it kind of like gets you away from people, but at the same time, like for me, like I've always wanted to be the type of hands-on dad.
Yeah.
Just me and you, I think, have been. I'll say pretty much the same. Like, look at our kids. Dude, our kids are born 12 days apart. Our first.
Yeah, we have two
You know what I mean?
daughters,
Two
one
daughters, one son. Exactly. Pretty much all the same age.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Mine just turned 11. Yours gonna turn 11 in a
Next
couple
week.
days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My
Yeah.
daughter's gonna turn 7. Your daughter's gonna turn 7.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, she just
months
turned
after.
6. Yeah, so yeah.
Months after. So it's
Yeah.
like, I think it's like, to me, it's just like it's like I always want to be that dad to be around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though, like some people say like, oh, I want my kids to have this, I want them to have that.
Mm.
I'd rather give them a memory of me.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, I remember my dad used to take me to the beach all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We had such a good time. Well, what would you guys do? Oh, he was always there. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that dad like, oh, well, he worked all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't really spend time with me. I want to be the dad like, hey, like, dude, it was so much fun. Where'd you guys go? Oh, we were just outside. But he
Yeah.
was there with us. You know what I mean? And like with my wife, I just want her to know, like, hey, I was always there. Like, I always wanted to be there with you. I don't ever feel like you can't come to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
as a husband, I always wanted to play that role. Like, hey, like, if you ever need anything, I'm here.
Yeah.
Don't ever worry about anything around me because I'll take care of it. You know what I mean? It's like
Fair.
you put up like that guard for your family. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Like we're like that protector.
Exactly. You want to have them in a like safe haven behind you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you don't want to just be the tough guy. You want to be the loving husband, the loving father. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so let's rewind a bit about because those are like see how as a man you have to you wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
Okay, you wear a lot of hats as a man. It's not just being the protector because if we have to be about it, then we have to be about
That's
it,
it,
right?
dog, yeah.
It is what it is. But at the same time, like I would think that's a little more old school of just being the protector of work and that's it. But like, how do you see it now of like being it's a generational change, but I think it's not really a generational change, but it's what I think a definition of what a man is as far as like protecting as much as you can. And, and that's my opinion, but protecting as much as you can, but at the same time, like being there emotional for your kids as well.
100%. Like that's one thing. Like, they say, oh, like wait until your kids turn a certain age. They're not gonna want to talk to you. They're gonna lock themselves in the room. And I always felt like, hey, like I try to talk to my kids as much as possible. Like, hey, what's going on? Like, I forgot what I read or I saw, and they were like, hey, like don't ask how your day was, because the kids gonna be like, oh, it's fine. You know what I mean? Instead, ask like, hey, what was the best part of your day?
Yeah.
Like, what'd you do that was like fun?
That's fun.
Oh, like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun.
It
you know what I mean?
switches it up because like,
Yeah.
so it's funny. I did hear something like that because like I tell my kids and my kids, Elena and Isla will tell you is like I tell them, hey, who'd you beat up today? They're like, what? Because it's different from.
Yeah,
like,
how was your day today?
Yeah,
It's kind of like,
exactly.
oh, well, it was fine.
Yeah.
I did this or I did that. Like when we went to the beach the other day, right? And like I told my daughter when we were driving home, I was like, hey, like, what do you think the best part of today was? And she's like, she sat there, she thought about it like, oh, when we did this, we jumped in the water and I got hit by a wave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but that was
Yeah.
something that, you know what I mean? Like she got to tell me more into detail, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I want to have that relationship with her where we could just go joke around, and at the same time she could come to me whenever she needs anything. And like same thing with my boy, you know what I mean? I always tell him like, hey, what's up, son? Like, let's do this, let's do that. like keep him active. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, you know, right now everybody's on the phone, everybody's on the iPad, everybody's
Yeah.
on this. You know what I mean? But sometimes like getting them out there more is
Yeah,
better
I think
than
getting
keeping
them
them
out there and like
indoor.
that's like, you know, we're not that old, but like we grew up in the 90s,
Oh
late
yeah.
80s, 90s, and we didn't have phone. We had pagers, you know, but like, you know, we didn't have phones. We didn't have all this stuff. And, you know, we went through trial and error. We went through a lot of different things, but things that our kids are probably not going to experience,
Oh, never
you
experience.
know, like,
Never, dude.
yeah, they're never going to
Never.
experience some of the things that we had to do and the things that we overcame. But like, but I think like, yeah, like I think we that's a common something that we really like from eating at the dinner table to kind of different things like that. Yeah, we have technology and they do have iPads, they do
Oh
have
yeah,
things like that.
100%.
But I think it's like bring them back down like to reality. And like
Yeah.
it's like life is going to pass you by really quickly if you don't
Yeah, if you don't,
enjoy
if you
it.
don't enjoy it and like open your eyes to it,
Yeah.
like the day like for your daughter's birthday, like I
Yeah.
told your wife, I'm like, hey, Justine, did you notice the kids? Not
Dude,
one
that
was
was
on.
dope, huh?
Yeah, like nobody was on the iPad
Yeah.
or on the phone or nothing. There was no kid sitting down.
Yeah.
And she goes, dude, I didn't even realize how many people were there at the party until the piñata came out.
And that picture
Yeah,
on the
it's
block
like,
wall.
yeah, it's like all the kids were
yeah.
there, and you're like, you didn't even see them all because you had some playing in the front yard, some playing in the backyard, but there was no kids sitting down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it kind of like reminded me, like, dude, this is the way a birthday party's supposed
Back
to
in
be.
the day.
Yeah, like once you got there to the party, it was
Yeah.
like, hey, mom, hit me up when we're to leave because we're gonna be here all day.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And I think that's what kind of like, it kind of changed me too. Like, so I stopped drinking. You know what I mean? It's already going on 7 years. And I always wanted to be like, you know, I don't want to take that away from nobody because I'm like, hey, if you drink, look, I work for a beer company. So, you know, I'm not telling you don't drink. You drink, you know, but I'm not telling you that either. But I just said I stopped
Yeah.
because, like, you know what, man? I think it would take me away. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like I would go after work and, I'm going to go hang out with the boys. You know what I mean? Then you're drinking. And then in a funny way, dude, I felt like I gained weight when I stopped drinking because, you know, all I was doing was drinking.
Yeah.
And then, like, I started thinking about it, like, dude, I don't want my kids just to know me as, like, oh, go and get dad a beer. We're at a birthday party. Go and get him another beer. Go and get him that. You know what I mean? And plus, you know what I mean? Like, you know, we go to church. You know what I mean? And how's that going to look for me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to teach my kids, like, it's like we talk about, like let's just talk about, like, success, you know? Like we'll talk about that. Like, a lot of people always bring up their job. Like, oh, you're successful.
Yeah.
But successful in a job could still be bad at home.
Oh yeah, definitely, bro.
You know what I mean? Because like you say, like a guy that's rich in work and in money, but does he know his family?
Yeah, because something's failing on the other side.
Yeah, like does he know his family? No, but like that's one thing I'll take as success for me is like, you know what? I hope my kids are knowing Christ. You know what I mean? Like we go to church. I hope like they're understanding the word. You know what I mean? They're going away from where they could be at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying they're not going to go through things like that, but as long as they know they got a comforter in the end, somebody to go to, you know what I mean? Of course, it's God.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus, like, if you got somebody like that to take care of you and you have that support behind you and you could teach your kids that, to me, that was my success.
Yeah. And see,
You
and
know
that,
what I mean?
like, and then, you know, and I was talking about that today with somebody, and nobody, a person put success in the definition of what that success is, but you could choose your success.
Right.
I could choose my success.
Right.
Anybody could choose whatever they want. And for
Exactly.
me, it's like, yeah, like I do have a company that is financially good, and that allows me to do a lot of different things. But once I got a piece of it, and like, you know, it's not what everybody thinks it is. You know, like not like,
Yeah.
and for me, like, yeah, you know, I if you want to call it success, like, you know, you see it up there, Triton, you know, is my main company, and we have a lot of different things going on what we do on the project management, construction management side. But once I got a piece of it, a taste of, you know, what financial freedom looks like and things like that, it's not what it is, man. It's not what it is, and that's where I think a lot of people see as like what success is, you know.
Yeah.
And for me, it's kind of what you said, man. It's like literally is making sure I'm connected with myself, And yeah, like, talking about faith is, we talk about it,
Yeah.
we talk about like, and yeah, and that's, it's funny, man, because like those are the things like, with church and politics, you're not supposed to talk about with people, but we can talk about it.
Because like that's what I think. Like you got to understand each other. Like I'm telling you, like who am I to judge you if you drink? I'm nobody to judge you. I'm just telling you what I stopped doing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I stopped doing it because, like I said, I wanted my kids to be like, oh, let me go get my dad this. Let me go. You know what I mean? I just didn't want that because
Yeah.
at the same time, I grew up around it my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It didn't make me feel different. Like I didn't have him there, but at the same time, you know what I mean? I was just like, well, you know what? I kind of want to take that away because, you know what I mean? I was social butterfly, dude. I would go and I'm gonna go have fun here, and I'm gonna go and do this, and
But you're still the same.
yeah, I'm still
without
yeah,
drinking.
right. Except for a little bit heavier now. You know what I mean? But like I said, like
Yeah.
even with you, like I think it also opened my eyes too. Like I'll say, like you said, you shouldn't talk about religion and politics and all that. But you know what, bro? If you're not talking about it, it's like, well, are you supposed to be afraid of it? Are you
Yeah, and
supposed to
I
shy
think
away
it's
from
like,
it?
it's, like, you have your beliefs, I have my beliefs. There's a lot of common things factors that we have together, but doesn't mean I don't have to love you as my brother. It doesn't mean doesn't I have to, accept you either.
Right.
Unless you're doing some off the wall stuff. But like,
Yeah, right.
but other than that, like we always have like, like, yeah, like, even from religion, like, um, you know, I go to a Catholic church, you go to a Christian church.
Right.
We're still boys. I'm still gonna love you. I'm still gonna like
Yeah,
knock people
100%.
off. I have to in front of you. It doesn't really matter, right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
at the end of the day, is just like, whatever's gonna, for me, whatever's gonna make Sammy the best version of Sammy.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do.
Right.
Whatever's gonna make the best version for you and for your family and for your household. And I expect the same thing back. Like it's the same thing. Like, and I
Right.
think it's like whatever you're gonna do. There are certain things I don't abide by,
Right.
but for the most part, like you're not in my circle if I don't abide by them, regardless. But being open minded and just kind of like, hey, look, man, like, and I see the difference in you, man. Like I see the difference in you from years ago,
Oh yeah.
to
Way different.
to like to the way we are now, and like even the other day, a story that we're talking about. So I'll kind of share it really quick. So it's kind of funny. So like a lot of people that know me, I used to like compete in like MMA and martial arts for a long time, and literally it was a while ago. We're hanging out. We're at a bar that not like good things happen.
One of the reasons I stopped drinking.
Right.
But
Yeah,
like,
not at the bar, not at a place that's very usually bad things happen there,
oh
right?
yeah.
I'm not gonna put the name out there, but a lot of things don't go well there. So,
that bar.
yeah, at the bar, yeah, we'll call it the bar. But long story short was that he goes like, "Hey, you know what? Like, how do you do like a rear naked choke? Like, And I was kind of showing him like, hey, this is what you need to do. You got to make sure your forearm is tight on the main artery, and then you just kind of squeeze it, and then just go to sleep. And he was like kind of messing around, like messing with some of our friends, like doing it here and there, and then a couple hours in, because some altercations broke out, and inside the bar, and then it went outside, and then long story short, again, was we were outside, and somebody hit somebody, and then Sammy rolled up behind him, and he got him in a rear naked choke. He got him a rear naked choke, and he's talking to me, and I'm looking at the dude. I was like, "Hey, dude, settle down." And he's just choking him out, and it was funny because he goes like, "I did it, I'm doing it," and he's talking to me while he's choking this dude out. And then, but that was funny, dude.
It was funny.
It's a
And the funny
story.
part is, what's his name was looking at us kind of like, what were you guys doing? You know what I mean? Like
I felt like I was a coach. Like, hey, you got it right there. He's
not like,
almost out.
Like Aaron was looking at us like, what do you mean? He was choking somebody out. I'm like, yeah, dude. And then he just looked at us like, dude, what is wrong with you guys? You know what I mean? But again, that was when we were young. We're knuckleheads. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and but those are like the stories that we could go back and talk about and just kind of like learn like where we came from choking people to like and I used to like I always say like even we were talking to Frank the other day, and just like, man, like, like, oh, Steve used to do this, Steve this, like, I was like, yeah, like, I didn't, like, now, like, it doesn't bother me, but, like, I didn't want to always be known, like, and I don't want my kids knowing, like, I used to just try to knock people all the damn time.
Yeah.
Or, like, trying to beat people up all the time. Like, it's,
Right.
like, it's just not a good feeling no more. Like,
Right.
like, but I think it's, it's cool, that we kind of
Yeah.
experience those things. Like, thank God it wasn't nothing worse.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I think it was a really good, like,
Well,
experience.
well, that's the thing. Like we were talking about, like we could have went left. You know what I mean? Like with all the bad stuff that was around us and all the things we used to do. Like
Yeah, even friends that went
like,
left, dude.
Like honestly, like all the guys I used to hang around with. Like it's funny because, you know what I mean? It's like I had different friends growing up. You get what I'm saying? Like when I was younger, I felt like I grew up with, like you said, we grew up with older guys, but I felt like those older guys were already about it. You know what I mean? They're already doing their thing. And then, like, you started hanging around guys when you play sports, and you're like, oh, these are my friends now. And it was funny, too, because they would be like, Sam, I don't ever remember you like that. I'm like, yeah, because you weren't around then.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm not that type of guy anymore. Like, but at the same time, like, if anything went down, like, you already knew, like it was going to happen. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then I felt like, you know what? I stepped away from those people. Not like, I won't say I stepped away from anybody. I just kind of like stopped kind of hanging around. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be more with the kids. Hang out more.
Yeah, and I just think it was a good move for yourself.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I feel more. You know what, dude? I feel like a lot of peace in a way.
Yeah. Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
a lot of people could look at different people like we said, success, right? Like your job. Like, oh, Steve does this now. You know what I mean? And like they could say they like it, but they don't really like. Dude, look at Steve now. Mm-hmm. To me, I'm genuinely like happy for you. Like, dang, like that's my boy. Like when I talk about you, it's like, oh, who'd you go to the Dodger game? Oh, it's my boy. It's that guy you already know. He's just like, but how'd you get in there? I'm like, well, it's my boy. You know what I mean? That's what he does. He's like, hey man, that's good. I'm like, dude, that guy you don't even know. Like I always tell people, like, you don't even know what that guy went through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the things he went through in life in general. You know what I mean? Like me and you talk a lot. Like we used to talk. Remember, we'd just be in front of the house, chopping it up. And like, I felt like people don't know like what this guy really went through, and you know what I mean? What, like how you are now. You know what I mean? It's like I've seen your growth. I've seen what we had at first and what we don't have at first. Yeah. And like now, I feel like, I think that's why like I'm a little different now. I feel like, you know what? Like when I say like I'm happy for somebody, I'm not just saying it. Like, oh, I'm happy for you that you got that. But in the end, I'm like, I could have got that. No, I'm really like, dude, I'm happy you got that.
Yeah, and I think it's like, you've been around for a long time. You know, like been around before my wife was around. Like my wife Justine was been around for a long time too.
Oh yeah.
You know, so it's like you've been around for a while, man, and it's like just seeing that and just seeing like the change, and we talk and things like that, and and I thank you a lot, man, for always like being there as a friend and just kind of supporting me and things like that, because that's a hard thing to come by.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially because like there's that saying a lot of times, like it's hard for people to see people succeed at anything just because they come from the same place. We come from the same place.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we have different, a little bit of different upbringings from parents and different things like that. But at the same time, we come from the same place, man.
Place, bro.
And it's super cool. Like always like, yeah, dude. We used to have like long conversations, like either like even when we got older, like when we started having kids, and all that stuff, and like and it's pretty cool seeing our kids talk to each other and them get along. That's super cool. And
it's super funny. Like every time when they hang out, it's like you can't get them apart. And what did your mother-in-law say the last time? She goes, man, it's like funny because you guys are always the last one to leave. Like even when you guys are leaving the house, you guys don't leave the house.
Yeah,
so we're still chopping it up. And you know what I mean? I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like comfortable. You know what I mean? Like, hey, like
I think it's comfortable. Even, but it's so funny. Like a lot of our similarities. Of course, those are our kids, and they rub off on them. But like our kids are very similar to us. Like our kids don't see each other every day or every week or whatever. But like even the other day when our wives went to like a grand opening thing, and they're partying in your car. Oh, we park next to each other, and like they haven't seen each other for maybe like a couple weeks or something
Oh
like that,
yeah.
and they're still like boom,
Like
it clicks.
nothing ever.
Like,
Like that's what I'm saying. It
like
was so weird. Like, well, not weird, but it's so good. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
like Justine was like, "Hey, the kids want to go in your van." I'm like, "Oh yeah, come in. Like, let the kids be in here." And dude, like they were honestly all just having a good time,
Yeah.
catching up. And then your daughter's birthday came around, and look it was again like it never left. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the kind of relationship I like that my kids have. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
somebody that they could just come to and like, oh man, I just want to go over there and hang out.
Yeah, and I think it's just like setting the tempo and setting that solid foundation for like a support,
Yeah.
like someone to support with. Like I don't have a lot of people I can rely on. Like they say they want to rely on, but when things get tough,
Oh
things are
yeah.
tough, man. Like
Oh yeah.
being like for me like being a business owner, being a family man, doing all that stuff, and navigating life. I know if something hits the fan, I could call you or
Oh
just
yeah.
talk.
100%.
And I think that's one of the things is just like as people and as men, just talk, man. Like just find somebody that you connect with, and you know,
I love you, man.
I love you, man, type of thing, right? Like
Right?
but like, and that's what it is, and I think it's like you know, going deep with somebody, but at the same time, like I know I could have somebody support me if things go south,
Yeah.
So, uh, on that note, and like what you know now, what you have experienced and things like that, like what would you tell 15-year-old Sam?
Don't even tell me that, man. I'll tell that guy just to stop, pump your brakes. You know what I mean? Like, and like have fun. You know what I mean? Like, don't be so. It's like, but it's like everything, bro. Like everybody wants to grow up. Everybody wants to do this. You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes you go away, you like don't even enjoy it. Sometimes, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I wouldn't take nothing back, cause you know what I mean. You learn from everything.
Yeah.
The people you were around, the people you hung out with, the people you used to talk to. You know what I mean? Like the different groups you were around. You know what I mean? I felt like there's a lot of different groups from like your age, like
Oh
that
yeah,
just
dude.
went. You know what I mean? But like the 15-year-old me, dude, I just felt like, man, dude, like I just felt like I had to hustle all the time. Like I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But for what? I didn't have to do it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think it was more like a choice, but once you get that thought in your head, you're just like, all right, I got to do it now. I got to
Yeah.
do this. You know what I mean? So I would just probably tell myself, like, hey, slow down, have a good time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
instead of like worrying about what's going to happen next, just like live it. You get what I'm saying? That's one thing. Live
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Have a good time about it.
Just be in that moment.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy the moment. Like, that's why I say, like, right now, like, I try to bring that up with my kids. Like, I want to enjoy the moment with you guys. You know what I mean? So that we could all enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think that's like today I went to chiropractor and I was talking to my doctor, and it just seems like she was like, yeah. I had to
Guys
get
getting old, huh?
I gotta get oh, bro, gotta get adjusted here and there, man. But like I always talk to the doctor. I was like, I know he has appointments, but we have good conversation, and we're talking about like the moments in time. Like that's what we leave behind. Like I could leave my family like life insurance, all this other stuff, but if I don't leave things for them in a memory or something that I've taught them, they only could go so far with things that I leave them physically,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So understanding that, like having that connection, and like I had this conversation with my wife, not with the kids, but my wife the other day is like for me now is like I have more of a spiritual connection more than I ever had before, like
Yeah.
with God, and just to be able to like love myself, like, and it's kind of, I won't say it's selfish, but it's like before I could love my wife at full capacity, before I could love my kids at full capacity, I have to be able to love myself,
Right.
and it's challenging, man, like
Oh yeah.
during trauma, during a lot of different things in life, and just loving myself as much as I can. And I know God gave me the ability to be able to like maneuver the things internally to
Right.
make sure that I am the best version for other people.
Right.
For my wife, for my kids, and people like yourself, and people that I surround myself with. Like I think it's being someone of value, being someone that could impact others, and literally just be a genuine human being to people.
Yeah. And you know what's funny too is like, you know how when you hear people say like, "Oh, I'm gonna pray for you." Like, do you think they go home and pray for somebody? It's just sometimes just like a saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like I feel like now, like when I say it, I mean it.
Yeah.
Like when like you know what I mean. I know things go on in your family, and you know we know things going on. Like I'm not just saying it like, hey, like I'm gonna pray for you. No, like that's one thing I do now. Like, you know what? Like people are in my head. I gotta pray for them because why would they be in my head? Why would God put them in my head? You know what I mean? Or else that. And I've noticed too, like with every, like with everything I do, you just gotta thank God.
Yeah.
Like everything. Like you could be going through some bad times, like financially, you know, physically, like mentally,
Yeah.
like especially mentally, bro, because your mind is one of the strongest. You know what I mean? One of the strongest things in your body, bro. That could just it shows you pain, it shows you suffering, it gives you all these emotions, right? But
It's a more powerful tool.
it's the most, yeah, exactly. It could be like good for you, and it could also be bad for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could take you to the deepest place, or it could uplift you the most. You know what I mean? But like, I've always noticed, just like, you know, you thank God through everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you know He's gonna pull you out of whatever you're going through before it happens, and that's one thing I say
Do you think real quick on that, like, um, he gives you the tools to be able to navigate through that?
yeah, I really do. Like, I just feel like, dude, the power of prayer, it's like, it's real.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I wake up in the morning and just be like, oh man, thank you God. Like I know today's gonna bring me this, but I know I'm gonna get through it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know how they say thank you in advance? That's what I feel like I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because right now I don't see what's going on. I just see the bad. But when it goes good, like you knew it was gonna get there. You know what I mean? That's the way I feel now. You know what I mean? I think that's what brings me the peace. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Hey, like, I know I'm gonna be better. So I always, you know what I mean? I always just say like, you know, thank you God. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes probably people think I'm weird, or you know what I mean? Probably see me in the street like, look at this guy. What is he talking to? You know, it's just me talking to myself. I'm just
But it's
like,
like,
hey,
like the worder you get, the better people you get.
yeah,
You know, like people that like, man, you're weird, Steve. I'm like, well, I'm getting better.
yeah,
You know, but like,
exactly.
so like, you know, um, talking about like faith and things like that, like, you know, let's touch on that a little bit right now. So like, you know, I seen the difference in you in the past, you know, couple years, and especially the past few years, right? Like, do you think from the steps of not drinking no more, not, you know, doing that part of your life, and then turning to God, like how long has that been since you kind of like really started like,
Well, I'll say since my daughter was born, you know what I mean? Like, you know, also too, like we started going to church a little bit when Frank Claudia, you know, when they lost their son. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think that's one of the like they don't even know, but they actually kind of got us going back to church. You know what I mean? And we were going to Catholic church for a little bit, and then like one day my father-in-law was just like, hey, well, like why don't you guys come over here? And Jen was just like, yeah, you know, we should try it. And dude, that was it. Like we started going there since.
you
know?
just felt connected?
Yeah, we felt connected. Like you felt the connection. I guess you could say. You know what I mean? So we went there, and you know what I mean. It's like they say like everybody says, oh, cause you're this now. Oh, what? Let me guess. You can't drink. You can't do this. Like God's gonna pull it from you. Like you know what I mean. Like He's gonna pull it out of you. Like He pulled it out of me. Like to stop drinking. You know what I mean? I honestly just said, hey, I'm gonna stop drinking. And, you know, Jen was just like, you're not going to stop drinking. You drink too much. Like, you guys do it too much. Like,
Yeah.
and then I just said, no, I'm done. And that was pretty much it. Like, I didn't even look back. It's not something that, like, oh, I just wish I could have it again. And honestly, I just left. Like, it's not even a second thought in my head anymore.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm around it every day. So, and it doesn't even, like,
Yeah.
like, give me a second thought. You know what I mean? So, I think that kind of, like, I think it was just, it was good for me because, like I said, it just made me like different inside. You know what I mean? It gave me like, all right, cool. So once I did it, I think, like you said, like little by little, man, it's gonna pull you away from things and pull you towards things.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I'm at a better place, like now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like where I'm like, all right, cool. Like you know, I start understanding more things. You know what I mean? I start seeing things for what they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not just like following the hype. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm gonna start doing this. I'm gonna start doing that, but without even really looking at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now I think I pay attention more to certain things.
God,
You know what I mean?
you're more aware.
Yeah, way more aware now. Because before it's like you were living just kind of like, oh, but did you see that? It's on social media now. Did you see this? Nah. Now sometimes I just kind of look into it a little bit more, like, like, why are we doing this? What's in there that I'm not supposed to be doing?
Got it.
You know what I mean? So I think that kind of like took me away from certain things.
Yeah.
And certain people. You know what I mean?
How do you think on that, like people? Because I could tell you my experience, but like I won't say like like moving them out of your life completely. They're still there. If it's family members or if it's just friends in general, just people that you probably used to socialize with a lot more. They're just kind of like, hey, you know, what's up? Your acquaintances, you don't have no beef with them or anything like that. But it's kind of like
it used to be.
it's not the way it used to be, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like you change your trajectory in life on what you want to do, and there might not be fitting in with that. Like how was that for you?
You know what, bro? It was kind of hard at first because you know what I mean, you had people you're really close to, and you felt like you were talking to them all the time, or you were talking to them all the time, and then it just stopped. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you're like, why is it stopping? Is it something I'm doing wrong? Is it something I'm doing right, or is it something you just don't care for? But at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I gotta take care of myself first. You know what I mean? I gotta worry about myself, and it's crazy because my older brother, well, Juan, he told me, you know what, Sam, you're not gonna realize it until you're not gonna know what things are until you stop worrying about what other people are doing, like telling you how to think or telling you what to look at, and you just take a step back and say, well, I'm gonna do this for my family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I see what you do with your family, but you know what? But for my family, I'm gonna do this. And some people could be pushed back from that, like, why are you acting like that? Why are you doing that? Well, don't take it as a negative. Just take it as we're gonna be different.
Yeah, it's gonna be different.
That's it.
Yeah, and it's funny because your brother, like I love Juan. You know, he was when I talk about a hard worker.
Oh, that guy's a nut.
He's
a nut, dude.
Yeah, he's a nut, dude. I love that dude, man. And I remember but just like you said, like he always used to say a lot of things, and I remember like just comments like, oh yeah, like like he was out there more. People were like just like, hey, but he said a lot. He like a lot of things you think about now. Yeah. You're just like, damn, there's some dropping some bombs there, dude. Like some good knowledge.
Dude, always.
Always. And I remember like I was just running around, just hustling, just like, hey, what's next? Let's go. You know? Super, super, super cool dude, man. And but yeah, like even with that, like even like understanding like it's okay to have people on the sidelines watching you.
Right.
On the 60. They're gonna root for you sometimes. Sometimes they're gonna boo you. It is what it is, right? But I think it's like you have to make that leap and that change. Like even for myself, like even when I remember I was talking to you when I left Pomona as far as work wise.
Right.
I just like, all right, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
And then and I was like, I have to do something different. Like this is kind of like I'm not happy no more.
And think about how many people would have done that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, like I applaud you on that, bro. Like, how many people just say like, "Hey, I'm gonna quit the job I've been to for how long? Was it 10 years?"
It was 13.
Dude, think about it. How many people just leave?
Yeah.
Nobody. Yeah, I'm gonna be real. It'll be real hard for you to just leave, and then for you to go somewhere and not know what's gonna happen, and then you went somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then you were like, you learned. You learned. You get what I'm saying? And then guess what happened? Now look at.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But who would have saw that process? Nobody, dude.
Yeah.
But what do people? But still, at the same time, people judge you for it.
Yeah, and people were like, and it was challenging, and I had to maneuver my way around who's going to be my friends, who are not going to be my friends no more currently at this time to get me to the new version of Steve. Yeah, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. So the new version of Steve. So it's like, but yeah, man, it's always a fun, I think, obstacle in life. It's like the ultimate challenge, right? Like of where your life is gonna be at. God has a plan for you where you're gonna be at, and I think it's one of the things like I want to be able to, if I don't wake up tomorrow or if I don't make it home, I don't know these things, right? But I do want to be able to make sure I left this life, and I tapped into every ability that I have in me, that God put in me, into my heart and my mind, connected it, and see what I could do with it. You know what I'm saying?
Just like what Juan tells you, like when he would tell me like things, like he would always be like, "Don't tell people how hard you work." And I would always be like, "What?" He's just like, "Don't be like, hey, I'll be the hardest worker here. This and that. Don't tell people. Show them."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Show them, and once you show them, they're gonna understand it." Look at when I see him. I honestly think my brother's a nut when it comes to working, because I've worked with him. You know what I mean? I've worked with him at 2 jobs, and like I said, he's been my boss. I hated because when he's your brother, he don't gotta take the HR or any of that, bro. He's your brother. You're gonna see him when you get home. You know what I mean? He would always tell me like, "Don't tell people how good you are. Show them."
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And I think that's always been like a thing for me. Like, oh man, look, there you go again. Well, bro, I'm not gonna be I'm gonna show you how good I am.
Yeah.
Like today, dude, I had a long day today, but at the same time, you know, it was funny. Like, I guess I'm old, right? I was telling these little youngsters that like, they're like, oh, bro, you don't even work hard anymore. I'm like, all right, let's go. You know, we gotta go do another route. All right, cool. I'm gonna go help you. All right, let's go. And they're looking at me like, dude, you don't stop. Like, what's up? Like, hey, like, it's time
everyone's
to go
definition of hard work is different.
Yeah.
You know, it has its own term, but like, what would you on a quick note is like, what would be your short term goal and your long term goal? We kind of talk about both. We could talk about, work wise, what's your short and long term goal, and then personal, like what's your family and what you want to do personal.
That's hard, bro. It's a hard question to ask me. Like a short term goal for me? I don't know, man. That's a real good question, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have a short term goal.
No.
I guess just a short term. Long term goal for me would just always to get better. You know, if it's where I'm at, like in this job, or if it's somewhere else. And the same thing goes with like everything. Like my long term goal is to always be better than what I was before. I think that's like my long term goal.
Got it.
Not just work, like in life.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like as a husband, as everything, as a friend, like just don't be the same version of yourself, because I mean people grow. So I always want to be like, all right, I seen the growth in him. That's one thing I would say, like that was my long term goal. Like just keep on growing. Don't stay stuck. Because even though like right now, like I'm comfortable right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, like what's comfort gonna do for me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we talk about it all the time. Like, hey man, you've been there a long time. I'm like, yeah, but what's comfort gonna do for you?
You can't put yourself in an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, cause that's the
You know,
only way
good
you're
or
gonna get
bad,
better.
and see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's the only way you're gonna get better, bro. Cause when you're uncomfortable, you're uncomfortable. You know what I mean? But at the same time, how you gonna get yourself out of being uncomfortable?
Yeah.
By either making it comfortable for yourself, or like, all right, I gotta learn a new way to do it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, exactly.
And the short term goal, I don't know, man. That's tough for me.
Yeah. You know, but sometimes it's not a, that short term goal. It's a step to get to your next goal. You know what I'm saying? So like, waking up every morning and just going to work, man. And then just doing what you got to do. Day in and day out. But yeah, like that, and and I think it's that's good, man, because that doesn't allow you to be in a closed circle. Like if you just focus on getting better, whatever comes in front of you, it might be a challenge, it might be a new career, it might be a new pathway for you and your family.
Yeah, 100%.
But like you're preparing yourself day in day out for you don't know what that's gonna get at you. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's like you have fighters, you have all these people from back in the gladiator days that prepped their whole life for one war.
Yeah.
Like win or lose, you don't know that. So that's a good mindset of just get better every single day, and it doesn't matter what it is, and just hit it hard. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was a good conversations that we talked about all that different stuff, but I'm gonna hit you with a different one right now, and I think it's especially because like before I ask this last question, like what advice would you give young kids out there that people are watching this show, or even to another father, another husband, another worker, what advice would you say that helped you the best way that is putting one foot in front of the other every day?
Oh, bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, bro. And this is for us. Learn how to look somebody in the eyes. You know what I mean? And that goes for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, learn how to have a conversation. Learn how to talk to people. You could be smart, be book smart. You could be have your master's, your bachelor's, your doctor.
Yeah.
But bro, like, if you can't talk to somebody, how you gonna put it to work?
Yeah.
That's one thing I'll say. Like, be able to look somebody in the eye and carry a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Learn how to talk to people, because I think we've lost that. Like you like people dating now. Do they even talk? Do they even meet somewhere? Or is it like, hey, I saw you on this. How are you? You know what I mean? Emoji.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how they talk now.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
We were just talking about that the other day at a party I went to. You know, it was funny. We were just talking about like being wingmans and all that stuff like that. How to, you know,
before you had the stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but like genuinely, like it's literally just talking to someone, you know, face to face, and like, hey, because you can win a battle there.
100%.
Like you know you won the battle, you can make them do whatever you want.
Like, what did I tell you, bro? I said, hey, if we ever work together, I'm gonna take over. I told you that, right? Because I'm gonna talk to everybody. I'm gonna hey, what's up? How are you today?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let them know.
I was like, Sam, we're too busy, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
Steve, wait, bro. We got a date going on, bro. We're gonna go do something. But like I said, that's one advice I would give kids, like, or anybody, like, growing up in work and in life. Like, bro, be able to hold a conversation, look somebody in the eye. Because nowadays, you can't even find somebody to look at you in the eyes. They get like awkward, they get nervous. Like, why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, even when you're greeting people, like,
yeah,
hey man, how you doing? They don't even want to look at you. They're kind of like, you know what I mean? It's just funny. So I think that's one thing I would give. I mean, just be able to talk. You know what I mean? Yeah,
that's good, man. So this last question, I was like thinking about something. I was like, well, I'm gonna hit you at the end, dude, with something good.
Great.
What would you, if you had the ability right now to be able to tell your dad one more thing, what would that be?
Oh, bro, don't tell me that.
Yeah, what would that be?
You can't. That one's tough, man. Oh man, really, bro?
Yeah, bro.
Do it to me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, before you answer that question, you know, your dad looking down, and you think, you know, would you think he'll be proud of you of where you're at? Would you have you accomplished?
I would hope so. Like, I think that's one thing he always like one thing for like my mom and dad, dude. They were like tough workers. They always worked hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They never wanted to know that our kids were lazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in anything, you know, they would always be like, hey, like, how is he as a worker? Oh man, your son works hard. Like, good. I'm glad to hear that. I think that's why my brother works so hard, like a freak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even like with all of us, I think we just like work so hard. So I think that's one thing he would be like, you know, I'm glad he did it. And he would always tell me like, Sam, like when he would always tell me like, hey, whatever you got, you're gonna be able to have it. Like, you want a new car? Buy it. He's like, you don't know how you're gonna make the payment? You're gonna make it. You're gonna find a way. He'd always tell me, like, you're gonna get a house, you're gonna find a way. Like, don't ever worry about, like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do it?
Yeah.
Dude, as a man, you're gonna know how to do it when it gets there. And I wish I would have took that like sooner. Like, man, dude, I wish I would have been like, I would have took his advice sooner. Like, when I was like, that's one thing I regret. Like, not jumping on the, like I said, he already lived that life. You get what I'm saying? So when he told me like, hey, get a house. Like, don't be scared. And I was like, dude, how am I going to afford a house? Mm-hmm. And then when I did it, it was kind of like, I could have done it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I think he always seen the ability that you had. Because I don't even think I even told you this, dude. Like, there's certain times I always looked up to you because there's times where I didn't work, you know, like when I was really young and things like that. And I remember you were delivering ice.
Oh, yeah, bro.
You know, and you're a hustler. I was like, man, dude, Sam's a hustler. He's doing what he got to do. And I was at a rocky point in my life and doing different things I shouldn't be doing. But, you know, I think that's something that your dad and your mom always seen in you, like how you could hustle, you could work hard, you could do all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, I know they'll be proud of you. I know your mom is proud
Right.
of you. I know your father's proud of you. All that stuff. So, if he was, you know, if he was sitting down right here with his cowboy hat on,
Bro.
chilling, what would you tell him?
I don't know, man. I think I would just bring up memories, bro. Like I would just want to tell him, look at your grandkids. You know what I mean? Look what we built. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want you to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the most part, like, dude, just having a good time with him. My wife says I bugged him. She's like, you would always bug him. Like, you know what I mean? But I think that was our relationship. Like, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
would sit down on the couch with him. We would just talk. And I think if I could go back, I would just want to do that again. Like, nothing special. Nothing like, I wish we went here. Dude, I
Yeah.
wish we were just sitting on the couch, hanging out. You know what I mean? Just talking like we used to talk. Like,
Yeah.
off some just random stuff, bro. Just to hang out. I think that's what I would want because he only got to meet my daughter Chloe, which was a blessing because they're born on the same day.
Yeah.
They share a birthday. You know what I mean? And he didn't even believe me at that too when she was born. He was like, "When was she born?" I was like, "August 7th on your birthday." He was like, "No," but he was already sick. You know what I mean? So I was like, he got to enjoy her for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And then he passed away. You know what I mean? So I think that was hard for me. You know what I mean? Because like it happened so fast.
Yeah.
I felt like they were telling me like he's gonna be fine, like he's gonna go home, but you felt it. Like, I felt it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to leave the hospital. I was like, it's not gonna be there no more. But I would say he was in so much pain
Yeah.
that I kind of like, you know what? If he has to go, he has to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I know why.
You understood.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because if you know what I mean, I remember the look in his eyes, all that. So I think but like I said, if I were to see him, I would just want to be chilling like this,
Just having a conversation.
just having a conversation, bro,
Yeah.
chilling, good old times. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate
Hey, bro.
it.
Hey, that's what we're here. That's what we're here for, man.
Thanks a lot for bringing that up. You know what I mean?
But yeah, man. There's I always like to end out with something a little. I always change it up a little bit. I ask you a question. Would you like to ask me a question or something
Oh,
that you?
100%. I'm gonna ask you a question,
What's
bro.
up?
I'm gonna get at you. Nah, I'm just kidding. Nah, but I would tell you like, do you feel like what you're doing now shows the type of person you are? Like, can you say like the things you're doing in your life right now? Does it define you as a man? Like your job, your family. Do you think like this is the man you wanted to be growing up, or did something just kind of like, or did it all just fall into place, or did you always see yourself being this?
No, man. That's a good question. No. I I was, of course, I was always a hard worker. I always wanted to work hard and things like that. And to, like I just said, like just putting one foot in front of the other every day as much as I can, and doing the best that I know, basically, and and just certain things. Like I thank my mom, and on a lot of different avenues that that she taught me, and she was there for me for a lot of different things. And and that's the thing that me and my mom, we're trying to, my thing is to work on our relationship as best as possible. But even all those things like got me to where I'm at now. But I think it's literally like I created my own pathway, to be honest. I like being different, like I like
Right.
being different. I just don't think that I was designed to be just this. Like I wanted to do more than
Right.
that. And it wasn't just because of um the success at the time was dollars and cents and things like that, because I didn't have a lot of money, and especially when I got older I was broke. I did lot of dumb financial decisions, but I think I just like I knew that when I worked hard, but I did want certain things. I did want to, like, when I was little I used to see like a guy and with his family and kids at a nice car. I was like, I wanted like that. I wanted that, I I wanted my kids to be under the same house with the same parents, and kind of just having something more stable, and I know my mom and even my stepdad, they did their best and everything like that, and things kind of go different ways. But I just always I learn from a lot of different situations and different things, no, man, I would have told you like a year, even a year ago, from 3 years ago, whatever. I was like, I wouldn't think I got here and made this and different things like that. And I just think it doesn't define me as a person, because these are all cosmetic things. But I think just me as a person created this. You know what I'm saying? So I think now I'm able to really create a great vision, where I can make things reality. Like we used to draw a lot, right? So and tag and things like that, right? But I think it's we could really picture things in our mind and create awesome things.
What about the father in you and the husband in you?
You know what? That, to be honest, man, like that was tough, to be honest. Like, and I think it's because like with my stepdad, not having a dad around for like my younger, like before I could remember, but like having my stepdad, like even the other, like years ago, actually, I thank him for some. He was kind of like a jerk to me, on some things, but I was like, hey, I appreciate some of the stuff that you did, because you tried to teach me something, and show me different things. But like, I always like I'll figure it out myself. I was always that type of guy. I looked at different fathers and I was like, all right, I like the way he's doing that. I like the way he's doing that.
Yeah.
And just like piece it together. And that's it. I think that's for a lot of fathers out there, just like, there's no book that's going to teach you how to be a father or a husband or whatever. So I'm just like, all right, let me just do my best. And I'll navigate through it. I'm not the best father. I'm not the best husband, but I do show up every day and I do my best at the end of the day, man. And sometimes I'm miraculous, great father, Steve. Sometimes I'm just okay, Steve, just depending on my kids' attitudes. But then at the same time, like, they know I'm there. They know I love them. I know I care for them. I express a lot of emotions to them. And with my daughters, but when my son was born, that kind of got me to the next level, to be honest. And there wasn't nothing about my girl. I always thought in my head, like, my girls had their mother to fall back on. When it was my son, it was just like, it was tough, man, because I didn't want to fail. I still don't want to fail, because, they don't have grandfathers, on my wife's side, on my side. So I'm the guy that he has to follow.
Yeah.
I'm the guy. I'm the one that he has to follow, where I have to guide him in the best way I think is possible, right? But yeah, man, like, yes and no. Yeah, so like, to answer your question, yes or no, like, did I see myself here? No. But as we go along day by day, I see where my future is leading me to. But years ago, you asked me, hey, where are you going to be out in a couple years, Steve? I'm going to be working my ass off. I'm going to be doing something.
Right.
But I wouldn't know what. But now it's a little more clear. So I think, but yeah, man, I think just show up to be the best father, best husband I could be, man. And, and I think for a lot of people out there, it's don't overcomplicate shit at the end of the day.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, you could overcomplicate a million things and, why this and this, just show up and just be you, man. And that's what it is. Sometimes you're gonna have an angry wife at you because you didn't do something. Sometimes it's life. It's gonna happen.
It's life,
right? It's life. But the best thing is how you react to it and what are you gonna do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man, that was a good one, bro. That was a good one, dude. So, but yeah, man, my boy Sam, I appreciate you coming on, man. I appreciate you getting deep. We could have got deeper a little bit. I think we could have went a little, but you know what? I think it was a good run. I think we could probably, tap into a couple other stories for some of the.
We'll be here all day.
It will be here all day on some of the Broncos stuff and just life before, but yeah, guys, you know what? Thank you again for following. Please, look forward for the next episode that we have coming soon, and subscribe to all, platforms, YouTube, IG, Facebook, and give us a follow, man. Thank you, guys.